play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond Mark!
The sickest NHL podcast. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network. He is Pierre McGuire in a soundproof room at JFK Airport in New York, awaiting his flight back to Savannah and then on to South Carolina. And I am back in Providence, both home from another successful and amazing experience over in Ireland. Pierre, we were in Dublin, of course, a week ago today, and then in Belfast for the rest of the week at the Friendship Series. Congratulations to Boston University women's team for winning the championship over Harvard. Just a great run by them over there. I had the pleasure of being on their flight there and back, and it was a very happy crew, Pierre.
You're the lucky leprechaun that got them all. Good luck. Good job, Jimmy. That was an amazing week. Thank you to the Belfast Giants, the city of Belfast, everybody involved with the Chamber of Commerce there. Can't thank the people at the AC Marriott enough. They were phenomenal. And to me, the biggest thing, thanks to Michael and the whole crew at the Harry Lemon. I actually stopped by there yesterday, Jimmy. I was walking around downtown Dublin.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, and it was really good. Had a good visit in there. It was jammed. Everybody was there for Irish breakfast on Sunday, Jimmy, except for Jimmy and Pierre. So that was kind of stinky. But yeah, BU, congratulations. Great job by Harvard getting to the final. Nice job by Quinnipiac to beat Minnesota Duluth in what would most people call it the bronze medal game. There was so much good stuff going on. And I want to thank everybody at Delta Airlines that helped make this possible for me to do this show today with Jimmy on a layover and put me in a soundproof box here so I could actually be on screen with you guys. So thank you to everybody at Delta Airlines as well.
And a big shout out, obviously, to Cara Group Travel and Sarah Stanton, the whole crew, and Melita and Garth and Andrea and Adam and all the crew that makes this trip so seamless and easy for everyone involved. They've got everything down to a queue there, and it's a great experience, Pierre. I can't wait to get back over there.
Yeah, U.S. Thanksgiving next year.
I know.
Who knows? The way these guys get tournaments going, we might be there in the summer. You never know.
You never know.
You never know. Lots going on in the hockey world, Jimmy. Lots going on.
Let's start in Minnesota, where in just about a half hour, just under a half hour, Canada and Finland will face off for the bronze medal. And then, of course, the Czechs and Swedes later on for the gold medal game. Pierre, look, I give credit where it's due because you do it to me when I get my Betway picks right. You were the only one I heard anywhere say that both Canada and the United States would not medal in this tournament. And here we are. Neither of them have the chance to do that.
I didn't think the Americans would, but I thought Canada had a chance to do something in this tournament. Just to be fair, I didn't like the way Canada prepared for this tournament. I don't know where that came from. I had never seen it before. One of the separating factors for Canada always was really intense, really hard summer camp, and then an unbelievably difficult tryout camp in either late November or early December, just before they went to the tournament in Europe or hosted it in Canada. We didn't see any of that. And Jimmy, I said it to you as soon as I found out they weren't having that rigorous camp in December. I was like, this is not normal. That's the one thing that separates Canada from everybody else. It was almost like they got back to what the Americans used to do before 2004 and just say, we're going to anoint our team, and you could be a first-round pick, you'll be on the team. You've already been a first-round pick, you'll be on the team. That's what they did. And I'm not sure they brought the best players, Jimmy. How about that?
I'm with you, Pierre. And they brought some of them, but they didn't play him enough. And one of those would be Verhoff for sure. I think they could have used him a lot more than they did. And the other thing, Pierre, I think that needs to be pointed out, and it was something you were on top of right away, is the showboating and taunting and immature actions of the Canadian team. I get that, after that first one there with Porter Martone, he apologized and the team, but it didn't stop. That's the problem. Like, it kept going. And the unsportsmanlike to McKenna. I mean, there was no discipline on his team. And now, when that happens, people are usually going to point at a coaching staff. I'm not going to do that here because I love the Hunters, and I don't think this is on them. I think this is on these kids to grow up and act accordingly in a tournament like that when you're representing your country.
This goes back to what we had talked about before. Prior preparation prevents potential problems. This team wasn't prepared properly. And it's not, you can say, look, I have so much respect for the Hunters, but don't tell me that they would allow their London Knights players to carry on like that in the Memorial Cup. No chance.
Nope.
No chance. So I don't know if this is not a byproduct of guys being too cool for school that made the team. Guys just thought they were going to be anointed to the team. But, I said it to you at the beginning, Jimmy. I knew there was a problem after that game with Czechia when the Canadian media, and they know who they are, every single one of them, that kept writing columns about, oh, that's just the Canadian boys being the Canadian boys. And this is the best part, comparing them to, well, the Americans did it last year and they did it the year before. Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't care. The Americans have never had the success that Canada's had at the World Junior. I don't want to be like the American hockey team. I want to be the Canadian team.
Yep. Exactly. I can't stand it when people get called out on something they immediately deflect. Own it. Own your actions. And look, don't tell me, Pierre, that it doesn't fuel the opponent. It does. It's just, if this is how these guys are going to act, we'll show them. And so you want to teach them a lesson, and you want to get them back for being like that. And look, let's not forget now, Czechia has had Canada's number, not just this year. It goes back 2 more years before that. So, I don't know who Canada thought they were, that they were going to just walk to the gold medal game, but unfortunately, they learned another hard lesson.
Okay, and the other thing that's going to come out, if they don't medal, if they don't win a bronze by beating, by the way, the king of the bronze medal game, and I say this with utmost respect, are the Finns. I've told you this for years.
Yes. Yep.
The Finns at every level are the dominant force in bronze medal games because they actually see it as a major thing to win a bronze.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Canadian guys are going to show up today. I have no idea. I hope they do. One of the most amazing things I ever saw, Keith Elaine was coaching the 2011 U.S. World Junior team in Buffalo, New York. Jimmy, he skated his guys so hard in the morning skate. I remember saying it's the last World Junior I ever broadcast. It's the ultimate meltdown by Team Canada in the gold medal game, and it was amazing. Like Kuznetsov took the game over, Tarasenko took the game over, and Panarin took the game over. They were aligned. But what I remember the most, the morning skate, Keith Elaine skated the American kids into the ice. Charlie Coyle was on that team, by the way. And I remember Justin Falk was on that team too, I believe. And what I remember is saying to Gordon Miller, oh my God, the Americans could get crucified in this game. They could get crushed.
Mm-hmm.
And he must have said something to them because they came out and played the game of their life. And they eventually won the bronze.
That's how you do it. Yeah.
They did. They wanted to. And so I don't know if they're going to win bronze or not. But here's what I do know. They're in for a heck of a tussle because the Finns will show up. The Finns will show up.
Before we move on from World Juniors there too, Pierre, I want to look just at big picture when it comes to Hockey Canada. And this could even extend to upper levels, even in the Olympics. Who knows what's going to happen with that team? Obviously, they're pretty stacked, but you never know. Is there the wrong mentality throughout Hockey Canada right now that they have this, we're superior to everyone else because we're Canada and we can just enter this tournament and expect to be in that gold medal game because of who we are? Do you think there's a prevailing cockiness, so to speak, that needs to be reevaluated?
I'm not part of the selection, so I can't really speak to that. What I would say is this: when I was around it for 9 years and Bob Nicholson was running it, I knew there was a quiet confidence. But outside of a couple coaching decisions that they made, more times than not, Mark Habscheid was an elite coach. Brent Sutter was an elite coach. Craig Hartsburg was an elite coach. Outside of a couple questionable decisions, and I won't mention names, doesn't matter, of guys they put in place, more times than not, it was strict, it was hard, and there was swagger, but there wasn't cocky. There's a big difference. There's a big difference. So I can't speak to what it is now. What I also would like to talk about before we move to the NHL, some other stuff. I know there's a lot of finger pointing about the crowds in Minnesota. Minnesota truly is the state of hockey. And anybody that says it's not has never been there for the Minnesota High School Championship, has never been to a game at the University of Minnesota, has never been to a game in Duluth, has never been to a game in Mankato, has never been to a game in St. Cloud. Trust me, has never been to a game at the brand new rink in St. Thomas. Okay, just they never have. Trust me. It is truly the state of hockey. Here's where I'm mad. That organizing committee, I don't know who was on it, but whoever told them the price point needs to be X, Y, and Z on the tickets, cuckoo, nuts.
Yeah.
You got to read the room. Okay? They totally did the ticket pricing. Totally. That's number one. Number two, and this is really important, somebody from the IIHF should have said, "Whoa, wait a second. We can't be doing this and we can't be doing that." Reel it in. Yeah. I was in Grand Forks where almost and Thief River Falls where in 2005 where almost every game was sold out.
Right.
And it was 50 below. It wasn't like it was 50 below zero most of that tournament. It was freezing. We had to take flamethrowers to get the wires out of the ground.
Oh,
from the truck to the rink. Ask anybody that was there. It was crazy.
Wow.
So people that are taking runs at the state of Minnesota and the quote unquote state of hockey, you're wrong.
Yep.
And I usually don't call people out on that, but I'm telling you, you're wrong.
I
It
agree.
is a state of hockey. It's an amazing place for hockey.
Yeah.
It's an awesome place. I recruited tons of kids from there. I went and coached, like, just come on, man. It's a great place for hockey. Now, if you price a marketplace out, that's on the people running the tournament. That's not the people that live in the state.
Yeah. Like you said, read the room. Don't be so tone deaf. I mean, it's no secret that a lot of people are struggling right now financially. So to ask them to pay those prices was absurd, frankly. All right, Pierre, let's get to the NHL. But before we do, and this is a hockey overall type thing too. We lost two really important members of our hockey history here today. David Branch passed away, and also now word coming just before we came on the air that Bob Pulford has passed away as well. Obviously, guys that were more before my time, Pierre, but I'm sure over the years you got to know both of those guys.
Well, Bob Pulford was a great player. He's a Hall of Famer. You know, whether he was a Chicago Blackhawk or an LA King, he was or Toronto Maple Leaf. He was great. He was a great player. He was a really good manager. He was a great coach. Legendary career. I know that he used to get TSN so his wife could watch curling. That was a great story that we had at TSN. He said, "Yeah, I got the TSN going because my wife likes to watch the curling." But he was an amazing hockey man and lived a very fruitful life and did a lot for a lot of hockey players, both current and former players. So a lot of respect for him. And David Branch, I've known for a very long time. At the beginning, our relationship was a little bit tumultuous because he saw me as a college guy. I saw him as a junior guy. Back then, there was a lot of divide between the two.
Right.
Eventually, you know, when I went to work at TSN back in 2000, started doing a lot of OHL events or Canadian hockey events or even the World Junior, had to have a rapport. So we had to sit together and talk and break bread and figure stuff out. And it became a really, I thought, amicable relationship. And I learned a lot from David. I cherished my time over the last, I want to say, 6 or 7 years, at least 6. He was on the committee with me with the Hall of Fame, along with, at that time, 16 other people. So David will be missed. He did so much for major junior hockey in Canada. He did unbelievable things for the Ontario Hockey League. Unbelievable things for the Ontario Hockey League.
And Pierre, one of those, and just from reading up, and there was a common thread to a lot of different articles I've been reading today, was just his influence on getting people to be more aware of concussions and how to adjust how we look at that, not just in junior hockey, but just in the hockey world in general.
I love what you just said, Jimmy. Well done by you. I totally agree. David was really about player safety. And, you know, he had to go through a lot. I mean, the Lindros saga was a big deal. You know, people forget that Eric Lindros could have gone anywhere he wanted to go. And if the Ontario Hockey League would have lost Eric at that time, it would have been a deafening blow, a real big blow to that whole southeastern Ontario, southwestern Ontario, even northern Ontario. You know, people forget, originally drafted by the Sioux, ends up being an Oshawa General. And that was a marquee thing at the time.
Right.
And David was a big part of that. So, no, there's a lot there. And look at the different expansion went on in the Ontario Hockey League. David was a big part of that. Getting Sherry Basson into Erie to start it off was phenomenal. Getting teams, obviously, in different, whether it was in Sarnia or down into Michigan, they did I thought David did some amazingly creative and smart things. So I was reading about that, Jimmy, on the plane coming home today, and I was heartbroken by that. And then when you just shared about with Bob Pulford, you know, two really, really big hockey people. So thank you for asking me about it.
All right, well, let's stay in Ontario, Pierre. Over the weekend, we didn't get a chance to talk about it because it happened Saturday, but Auston Matthews is now the leading goal scorer all time in Toronto Maple Leafs history. Look, we both were critical of Auston earlier in the season when the Leafs were going through their struggles, and I think, you know, we tell it like we see it, but we've told it like we see it as he's turned his season and the Leafs season around. And I know that a lot of people out there, we have a lot of Montreal fans, obviously don't like the Leafs, but anytime you can become a leading goal scorer from the original 6 franchise, it's a monumental achievement.
Oh my gosh. Think about all the great players that have played in Toronto over time, starting with David Keon, Ronnie Ellis, you know, Lanny McDonald. I mean, you go down to Matt Sundin, There's so many of them.
Yep.
Dougie Gilmore. I mean, you can go. Now, I know it's just as a Toronto Maple Leaf, but nonetheless, I mean, the guy's an amazing player.
Yeah.
Who knows how many he's going to score? You know, Stamkos just went over 600. And how about all those people that were doubting Steven Stamkos?
I know.
Mm-hmm. Watch the eye test.
Yep.
It's not about analytics. It's about the eye test. Steven Stamkos still very much had game, and a lot of people got it wrong. And I don't see any of them apologizing right now.
Yeah, and I think the one thing too, Pierre, we touched on it a bit Friday before he did this, but the one thing we've both noticed is just there's a fire back in his game right now, and he's enjoying playing out there. He's determined more. You can just tell it in the way he's carrying himself on the bench and on the ice.
Can you imagine? He's got 600 goals. Think about it for a second. He was eligible for the 2010 Olympic team, didn't make it. Eligible for the 2014 Olympic team, injuries. No Olympics in 18, no Olympics in 22. Now for NHL players. And now he's, got one more chance at it. I believe this would be his last one, and not even in the conversation.
I know.
He's got 600 plus NHL goals.
And you look at it right now, Pierre. I mean, I don't know if they make the playoffs. We'll see. But I mean, they're not even sniffing the playoffs if not for him right now, Nashville. He's doing what they wanted him to do. I mean, this isn't the best team, but he's giving them a chance, and that's why they brought him in there. So
I agree with that. That's really well said. And look, I'm just happy for Steven. I want him to go out on his own terms, and hopefully he gets another opportunity to win. It's been an amazing career. All Steven's ever done in his career is win at everything. Yeah. Go look at his high school stuff, running track and field. Go look at his grammar school stuff, like all the different things he did athletically. He won in everything. Yeah, I'm telling you, sure. He's won in everything. He's a fantastic person. He's a fantastic person.
Pierre, I want to stay in Canada for our next topic here. And two Canadian teams, we're pretty much at the halfway point of the season. So some of the general managers are starting to give their State of the Union address, so to speak, halfway. Steve Stamkos did it over the weekend. I think it was Friday. And Kevin Cheveldayoff did it for the Jets today. And both interesting things when it came to contending and the trade deadline, where first it was Stamkos who said, I quote him, and I'm pretty sure I got this right. I'll pull it right up. We'll contend when we're ready to contend. And then Cheveldayoff today, when asked about the trade deadline and what he can do to kind of get this season going for the Jets, because there was such high expectations for this team. They're definitely underachieving. He said, look, to be honest, I don't know if there's much we can do because we've kind of hamstrung ourselves with the trade capital we've used over the past few years to compete for the Cup. Is this just a move of them kind of having a soft landing when we get to the point where maybe they don't make the playoffs or maybe they're not able to make that trade? Is this trying to set the bar too low so that you can then surprise the fan base later? What do you take with these comments from those two GMs?
I wouldn't want to be an amateur scout in Winnipeg right now. Because if I'm ownership, I'm asking my GM, what exactly were you saying?
Yeah.
Are you saying that you traded away all our good draft picks and get NHL players? Are you saying that your amateur scouts did a horse poop job bringing in players? Which one is it? I just want to know. If I'm ownership, I'm asking that question.
Well, did we lose Pierre there? I think he might have got off. We'll get to him in a second there. I'm sure he'll get back on. But it's true. I mean, it's part of me respects the honesty there, but is it honesty? That's what I'm trying to get out of Pierre, because he's been in these shoes. He's worked in a management staff twice before. So it's interesting that they would take that approach. I mean, I'm watching these videos and I'm like, whoa, did he just say that? Like, Stamkos, I mean, we're coming in a season where Ottawa was, after making the playoffs for the first time in so long last season, Ottawa was saying, well, this year maybe we can get to the second round, sort of the same way as Montreal. And look, Montreal's done a great job of tempering expectations, but Ottawa didn't before. And now all of a sudden they pull a reversal there. Well, Pierre, we lost you there, but go on.
Well, yeah, because some angry hockey person was calling me, and on the system I have in front of me, if the phone rings, I can't stay on with you.
Okay.
So I got rid of that person.
All right. I hope it wasn't somebody in Winnipeg or Ottawa.
I don't care. I'm just going to tell the truth.
Yep.
And we always, are nice to all these folks, but I just wanted in Winnipeg, if I'm Mark Chipman or Mr. Thompson, I'm asking the question of Kevin Cheveldayoff. What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Like, are you saying that our pro guys haven't done a good job? Are you saying we already fired a coach? You know, we fired Rick Bowness, and we put Scotty Arneal in. And so, what are you saying, that we don't have good enough players, even though we won the President Trophy last year? Are you saying our amateur scouts have done a poopy job? Like, what are you saying? That's what I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
And in Ottawa, I don't know what Steven's trying to do there. I don't. And I don't mean anything against him. I like Mr. Anlauer a lot. I like Daniel Alfredson a lot. I like Travis Green a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people in that organization that I work with, and they know who they are. I got a lot of time and respect for them. I really do. So I don't know what they mean in Ottawa, but I would tell you this. Anything less of the playoffs in Ottawa would be a major step backwards, because if they don't make the playoffs, and Detroit does, and Buffalo does, and Ottawa and Toronto don't, let's say.
Yeah. That's so, Pierre, as we're talking here, though, I'm thinking back to the theme that you've been trying to convey to our viewers and listeners here is it's on the managers now. It's not the coaches anymore. And I'm wondering, are they feeling that right now? Are they feeling that internal pressure and all of a sudden saying, just in case I'm under the microscope later on, I got to start to, grease the skids for this so it doesn't look like it's all my fault?
At some point, somebody's going to ask a question on the ownership side of things. We've kind of gone to this clearinghouse of how we hire managers in the NHL. And I don't want to get too deep in the weeds because it's not appropriate for me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would tell you is we're getting to the point now where owners have to decide on their own who they want to hire. Don't be talked into hiring people because they're in the good old boys club or you're buddies with this guy who's an owner here, who knows this guy there. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. We've had too much of that over the last little while, and it's blowing up in people's faces. Hire the and please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. There are a lot of really competent people out there, a lot of them that are working in the league right now.
Yep.
But they can't get a sniff.
Yeah.
And then you got other guys, no matter what happens, they keep getting, and no matter what, no matter how poorly they do, no matter how graphic the evidence is.
Yep. It's unreal. It's much like politics, to be honest. I'll tell you. But Pierre, speaking of owners that do go a little bit outside the box and don't fall into that cycle of regurgitating managers, credit where it's due. Jeff Molson has done that. It's paying off with Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes. And the Canadiens got to be coming home feeling pretty good after that road trip here. And specifically the goaltender, Samuel Montembeault, who has been through a roller coaster season. His confidence had to be in a bad place about a month ago. Good on him to stay resilient and bounce back the way he has.
Well said. Mental toughness is a big part of his job. Anybody that plays in the league has to be mentally tough. They're going to last any kind of time at all in the league. It's a hard league to last in. So I'm really happy for him. Thrilled to death for Kent Hughes and for Jeff Gorton. You talked about Jeff Molson. Jeff Molson, about 8 years ago, was adamant that you did not have to have a president of hockey operate. He was adamant.
Mm-hmm.
Adamant that you did not have to have that position filled.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's because he listened to Mitch Melnick's radio show. I don't know what it was. But there were certain people telling him, you better hire a president of hockey operations.
Yep.
And he's, no, we don't need that. We don't need that. Well, look what happened after they did.
Yeah.
So I give him a lot of credit because he kind of buried his head in the sand for a while there. And he got talked into some crazy hires.
Yeah. But he admitted he was wrong. He recognized his faults.
Yes.
So good on him.
Yes.
Pierre, before we get to our sponsors and my picks and then the Q&A too. Okay, I got to get something off my chest here, and I'm not trying to be, a downer here, but, Luke Hughes last night, nobody's arguing it. He had a bad game. It happens. A lot of times, sometimes it doesn't get noticed as well when a puck deflects off a defenseman's stick and into his own net, but it was very obvious what was happening there. He just couldn't do anything right. It was just one of those nights. It happens. I get the fans' frustration, especially in Jersey right now, because big picture-wise, they're frustrated, period, with the way this season has gone, and they want change. They want things to happen going forward, and they want to make the playoffs. I get it, and they kind of scapegoated him last night, but that's their right. They're fans. However, as media, I was taught, yes, we can critique a game or a player in the way he plays, but we do it with respect and we don't take personal shots and we don't make fun of them. There's some media who did quite the opposite with Luke Hughes in the aftermath of that game last night. And quite honestly, I think they should be ashamed of themselves. It's not fair. This is a guy that's playing in the NHL, and pretty sure none of them, and they know who they are, never played in the NHL or never even reached the pros. And they're saying that they don't know how hard it is. As you've taught me so well, I've never been there, but you've been around the game, and you always remind me that even if a guy's a fighter or a fourth liner or a third pairing defenseman or a backup goalie in the NHL, the fact he's in that league, even if he plays one game, is a major accomplishment that not many people get to do. So shame on those people that took shots at Luke Hughes after that game.
First of all, I just want to say a fan that buys his ticket or a fan that watches the game on TV, they're allowed to do whatever they want. They can boo, They can yell, they can scream. As long as there's no physical contact, look, it's not always right. Think about what happened at the Ryder Cup when they went after Rory McIlroy and his wife.
Yep.
Disgusting, despicable.
Yep.
It's terrible. Those people should be, but that they bought a ticket. That they do what they want. Nobody's going to arrest them. That's it. As long as there's no physical contact. I don't agree with the people booing, but I understand it. It's just, listen, I was a kid growing up in Montreal, and they used to boo Serge Savard. He's in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Look what they did to Larry Murphy.
He had two broken legs that he was coming back from, and they were booing the guy.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, I was doing
Larry Murphy?
watching the games.
Yeah. Larry Murphy in Toronto, Pierre. Look at that. I was
Larry Murphy got abused in Toronto. He got abused in Washington at the end, and he got abused in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one place he didn't was Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and in Detroit he got it last.
Yeah, well, I was at the end. I can't speak to the Detroit part, but I speak to the Pittsburgh part. Murph's one of the greatest. I loved having Murph. It was amazing to coach Murph. But I was traveling early this morning, but I was able to watch good portions of that yesterday, and that's hard. It's hard. I feel terrible for the kid. I feel terrible for his family. It's not easy, but it's reality of pro sports, where I have a big problem, and you brought it up. I told you the story. I once let Mike Modano have it unbelievable on the air, like you can't believe, and I ran down from the press box in Dallas, which is hard to do, to make sure I got to the dressing room before anybody else did. I knocked on the door and they let me in, and I said to Mike, I just want you to know before anybody else tells you, I gave you a rough ride tonight. I didn't think you played very well, and I called you out on it. And he says, good for you. I deserved it. I stunk. That's the kind of guy Mike Modano is an amazing guy, by the way, but that's the kind of guy he is, and I'll never forget Mike being as gracious as he was, with that. But I wanted to make sure that he didn't get it secondhand. These guys are sitting, 400 miles away writing stuff, on the internet. That's bad.
Yeah.
Especially if you're getting paid to do it. Like, put yourself in his boots for 1 second.
Yeah. There's no problem saying he had a bad game.
Just say he had a bad game.
Yeah.
Like, he had a bad game.
They're making fun of the guy. I mean, come on. I don't know what's happened to this.
I don't want to get too rang up on this.
I know. We'll move on.
Because stuff happens, and I get it. Everybody makes mistakes, but just think about, if you're a writer and you watch this, and I know a fair number of them do, just think about it. What would you do if that was your kid?
Mm-hmm.
How would you feel if that was your son or daughter?
Yeah.
Think about that for 1 second.
Yeah, it's true. It's a great way to look at it, Pierre. All right, let's get to our wonderful sponsors. We'll start off, as we always do, with Vago. Where, man, as I've been saying, I've been craving that pasta meal. Still haven't gotten it yet. Maybe I'll take a quick trip up and back just to go eat at Vago, because it would be worth it, because they combine old world classics and new Italian dishes for over 23 years. Private dining rooms for any occasion. They are open Monday to Saturday evenings and lunch from Tuesday to Friday. They are located at 1336 Green Avenue in Westmount. For reservations, call 514-846-1414. Again, that's 514-846-1414. And of course, our wonderful friends over at Betway, where you can still go all the way with Betway and bet those beauties. We've still got that wonderful new membership deal going right now. So if you're not a member, go to the QR code right in front of you. If you're watching, if you're not watching and you're just listening, get to the website when you can, go to the members section and fill out your details, and you will get up to $300 back on your first deposit. That's right, up to $300 back even if you lose your first bet. And that's at Betway right now. You must be 18 plus to do so. Terms and conditions apply. And this offer is not available in Ontario. All right, here are my picks tonight on a Monday night in the NHL. I've just got 2 picks for you right now. We're going to start in Washington, where the Washington Capitals, are hosting the Anaheim Ducks. Both teams probably not playing at the level they want to be lately, kind of a little up and down. Defensively, both teams haven't been as great as they usually are. I'm liking the Ducks right now because Washington's got a few injuries, some key injuries that could hurt them. I'm liking the Ducks to go in right now, pull the upset on the road. Give me the Ducks at plus 114 on the money line. Then I'm going to go out west on a late game. It's the only 10 o'clock game, and actually, to be specifics, at 10:40. The Minnesota Wild are in LA to face the Kings. Give me the Minnesota Wild on the money line at minus 118. All right, let's get to our questions. What do we got? Seamoke, what's up, my friend? Pierre, do you believe Patrick Roy should be the Jack Adams front runner? He's done an amazing job given all the injuries he's had, and they have totally bought in.
No, they have. So has Johnny Hines. Look at the injuries Minnesota Wild have had. Johnny Hines done an amazing job. Look at the job Ryan Huska's done in Calgary. That's an unbelievable job that he's done. So there are a lot of guys that I think should be up for the Jack Adams. I really mean that. I think there are a lot of guys doing fantastic work this year.
Yeah.
What about Marty St. Louis?
Yeah.
Marty's done a fantastic job with his group. You know, I think when it's all said and done, we'll probably get down to the last 20, 25 games. You'll have a better idea. But right now, Patrick should definitely be in the conversation.
He definitely is. And speaking of John Hines of the Minnesota Wild, we are going to be on early tomorrow. We're going to start it up at about 3 o'clock. And right off the top, John Hines will be joining us. He'll be out in LA still. And then they fly after that. So because he has to travel later in the day, he will be joining me here. Unfortunately, Pierre will be on Pittsburgh radio at the time. But John Hines, head coach of Minnesota Wild, tomorrow on the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network. All right, what's your next question? Be Right 33. Pierre, do you find the Habs defense are soft on opposing players who are in the zone in front of their net? There doesn't seem to be boxing out. There's no challenging, no cross checks. There's no Clydesdales like they had in 2021.
No.
Good analogy.
That is good. They need to do a better job of that. We talked about that would be one of the big learning things for Noah Dobson in particular. It's size-wise, it's not an easy thing for Carrier. It's not an easy thing for Lane Hudson. They really missed Caden Gooley. That's where Caden could establish himself. They missed David Savard. They talk about Clydesdale. He was one of those Clydesdales. Arbors needs to do a little bit better at that. So does Jaden Struble when they're playing, when one or the other or both of them are playing. Eventually it'll get sorted out. It'll all get sorted out. I like Montreal's team. I do, and I think the future is very bright for them.
Yeah, and a great point on you by Gooley. When he's back, I think that will change a bit for sure. All right, next question. Franco, can Slavkovsky be as good as Mikko Rantanen in one day? If so, what does he need to improve on the most?
Consistency. Mikko Rantanen has always been an amazingly consistent player. Whether he was playing with Nathan McKinnon, or whether he's playing with a guy like Rope Hintz, doesn't matter. Like he was always really consistent. From the first time I ever saw him play was World Junior, and I was like blown away by this guy's size, good hands, finishing ability, very, very consistent all the time. That's where Slav has to be, but he's getting there. He's getting closer all the time. Could he be like him? Yeah, he could. He absolutely could. Great comparison. Really good.
All right. Next, by the way, too, the good comparison as well. I had not heard that one yet. All right, next question.
Really good.
A to Z me, how far is Gavin McKinon's draft stock fallen in your opinions? For me, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. Wow.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
It's fallen, though, I think.
It's fallen, yeah. It's fallen. But that's everybody nitpicks. I remember Nathan McKinnon's draft stock dropped too. And eventually, one of the reasons that he went number one, I can tell you right now, Patrick Roy was coaching in Quebec, and they had played against McKinnon in the playoffs in the Quebec Major Junior League. And the guy that was supposed to go first to Colorado was a native Coloradan, Seth Jones, in that draft.
That's right. Yep.
Seth Jones went fourth. He went fourth, and now Seth's on the U.S. Olympic team. But it shows you got to be careful. Don't be saying, oh, yeah, okay, I do think his stock has dropped a bit, but be careful. The reason McKinnon didn't go past one is because Patrick Roy got hired by Colorado to be their head coach. People don't want to talk about that. So I'd be careful about saying Gavin McKinnon can't play. Gavin McKinnon is going to be a good player in the NHL.
Yeah. but I definitely think it's not as a lock as it once was. All right, next question. Ethan Russell, how about Werenski? Is he a top 3 defenseman in your eyes? Yeah, he is in mine.
Well, if you listen to our shows from last year, you would know what we think of him. Yeah, no, he's really good. Sanderson, the Americans have really good. Like, their defense is really good. The Americans, it really is. Imagine Seth Jones is like number 6 or 7 on their depth chart. They don't even have Lane Hudson on their team.
No,
come on, like, think about it for a second. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So they've got a real good defense, a really deep in goal, and honestly, I marvel at the athleticism of some of their defensemen. They're really athletic and they're really gifted.
All right, next question. Marik Isto. Okay, my friend, haven't heard from you in a bit. How you doing? Guys, what is your opinion? It was Billy Guerin thinking when he heard Devils fans booing Luke Hughes yesterday. Yeah, I think he means Tom Fitzgerald.
No, he could mean Billy too. Somebody was writing stuff about Billy today and that booing stuff. I don't know. Would Billy be trying to bring the brothers to Minnesota?
I see. Okay, I was trying to figure out the connection there. I see.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's so far down the road. I have no idea.
No, and I don't think Tom Fitzgerald's in any rush to trade him right now. So, all right, next question. Mr. Malkin 87, what are your thoughts on Jason Robinson not making Team USA with what he's done this year?
Shocked. I was really surprised. There were 2 guys on the American side. I was really surprised. I was really surprised about Lane, and I was really surprised about Jason Robertson. I know a lot of people in Montreal a little surprised that Cole Caulfield wasn't there, and I can understand that from a Montreal perspective, but I also can see it from USA Hockey's perspective as well. Some people in Philadelphia were mad that Trevor Zegras isn't on the team. I get that too. But, I think Jason Robertson's had just an unbelievable year.
As we're unfortunately seeing, and more so with Canada right now in Sweden today, injuries happen, Pierre. So these guys may have not made the first roster there, but they could be brought in as replacements because players are falling like flies right now.
The intensity of the games is crazy.
Yeah.
These used to be called the dog days. These used to be called the dog days of the season, but you can't afford to have dog days anymore because you might not be in the playoffs if you go to the dog days.
Yeah, and I feel brutal for Landeskog, Pierre, after what he went through to come back, and now the injury he's got, he might miss the Olympics. All right, next question. Pierre, what do you think of Hage's tournament? Yeah, I thought he was one of, if not
resoundingly good. He was tremendous. Tremendous. Yeah.
All right, next question. Daniel Duran, Pierre, is Michael Hage a true center?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. All right, next question. Frank V85, if the price is right, would you go get Mangiapane for the Habs?
No.
No, I don't know where they put him.
No.
I'm trying to think of destination.
No, you know what? I think Mangiapane is a good player, but I would not. No, not in Montreal, no.
Okay. All right, next question. WK1810. Do you guys believe that Jacob Fowler is too small to be a number 1 goal in the NHL?
No. Who said that?
I don't know, but no, we don't.
No.
He's good. All right, next question. Seamoke, Pierre, what do you think about the recent 3-game winning streak of the Blackhawks and pulling only 2 points out of a wild card spot?
Well, it's good, especially when you're getting stuff done when you got some injured guys, but I just think they need to manage expectation there and just try to get it back on the track and get going there.
All right, next question. GB8814, do you guys think Quinn Hughes is better D than Hudson? That's good.
Well, no, there's one guy's got a wealth of experience.
Mm-hmm. At this point, yes, but that could change. I think
it's going to change sooner rather than later, but no, they're Quinn's probably a little ahead of him, but not by much.
All right, next question. Franco, does a 19-year-old such as Ethan McKenzie become more attractive at a draft to a team in a win-now mode versus a rebuilding team, or does his age not matter during the draft?
I don't think his age matters anymore because there are very few guys that age can play in the league. So I just think you want to get the player, and he's a good player, and I think eventually he will get drafted.
All right, next question. Marik again. Hello, Pierre. Hello, Jimmy. Hey, Marik. Guys, what is wrong with Kent Johnston? Only 12 points. Yeah, that's a question a lot of people trying to figure out.
That's a really good one. Yeah, that's a really good question. I wish I could tell you, Medic. I really don't know.
Yeah, and we'll keep an eye on that. Merrick wonders if it could be traded as well. All right, next question. Ethan Russell, Pierre, is there a few players from World Juniors that caught your eye or impressed you that maybe didn't as much before the World Juniors? Safe travels.
That's a good question too. Not like that would no. I would say no.
Yeah.
I'd say most of the guys were what I thought they would be.
I would just look at the Czech team as a whole, Pierre. I mean, they're better than I thought they'd be. Maybe I was off. I didn't do enough research, but
no, it's not that you didn't do research, but you got a lot of those kids playing in the major junior hockey.
Yeah,
half their teams playing major junior.
Yeah.
So Jimmy, you're not watching those games. You're a little bit busy. I get it. You're running like 3 different shows, so there's only so many hours in the day.
Right.
But no, I'm not. No, I think most of those guys did pretty much what I thought. I'm not going to say who I was disappointed in, but there are some guys that were not as good as I thought they would be.
All right, next question. Be right 33. Do you think the Habs will, with the Habs trade with Danault, the emergence of Kapanen, and the coming of Hage at some point, the Habs need to now change from a 2C to a winger to play with Suzuki?
No, because Danault's at the end of his contract. I don't know if he comes back or not, so I wouldn't read too much into that. Hage is probably going to come right into the NHL, but he's not going to dominate right away. He's not. He's just not going to do it.
Okay, next question. Pierre, what a nice year Ethan Wittenbach is having. What do you think his ceiling is?
No idea.
Yeah, I haven't watched him yet, Ethan. Sorry. Good name, though. All right, next question. Simo, Pierre and Jimmy, deep dish pizza or tavern Chicago style? Pierre would know better than me. He's been to Chicago plenty.
I like them both. One of my favorite places. There's no pizza there. I like Rosebud. Rosebud's a good place. It's where I spent a lot of time when I was in Chicago, and I was in Chicago a lot. So
I don't know Chicago well, but if you're ever in Montreal, go to Magpie.
That's right.
Very good.
That's
good
right.
stuff. And they sponsor my good friend Pierre here when he's on TSN 690. All right, that's it for questions. Big thanks to Shane working the boards up in Montreal. Shane, I don't care what the crew says. You are coming to Ireland with us next year. We will make it happen. You deserve it. We'll get you there. Thanks again to everyone over in Ireland that made it such an amazing experience for us. And congratulations again to the BU women's team. And congratulations to Cara Group Travel, who continue to put on such a great experience for all involved. And to you for all your questions. We appreciate them. And to everyone listening and watching, thanks again. We will talk to you here. Remember, tomorrow, early start at 3 o'clock, and at 3:05, we'll have Minnesota Wild head coach John Hines here in the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network. Until then, have a great night.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.